So these were the duties of Medstar Family Choice when they got that letter on March 6th. It showed that my heart was severely injured and I need to be treated immediately. At a minimum, I should be told what level of exertion I can do so my heart condition doesn't get any worse. And they had the duty to do that right away. And this Miss Hunt, she even says that, well, she's not a doctor and she doesn't know how to read EKGs. But you know what? It doesn't matter. You know, if a parent gets some kind of medical records which looks like the child has a problem, right? When you're in that kind of a guardian kind of fiduciary type, that type of relationship, you have a duty. You can't say that you are just a parent and you are not a doctor. You have the duty to go get the doctor and get the problem solved. But anyway, so that issue is very interesting though, because so although Miss Hunt probably, she doesn't know how to read an EKG, who knows? She's probably lying, okay? And she's probably a liar. She probably sits on all kinds of Medstar risk management teams, and she knows exactly what the hell is going on. So, you know, she's basically an administrative liar. You know, they have these administrators with Medstar or any large hospital. So she's just a liar. So anyway, and so, but that wouldn't be but here's the interesting thing. Obviously, she turned it over to others in Medstar, and they figured everything out. And really, that letter, what they say is a statement from Dr. Dar. I'm going to read it to you, and you can hear that statement also. Renee, she reads off that statement from Dr. Dar, which is very interesting, because I sent the complaint in November about all the things that Dr. Dar did, but I never alleged any kind of malpractice. And now it looks like the letter which they say Dr. Dar did on March 2, which is obviously a lie. They received my letter on March 6th. They looked at it, they saw those horrible values, and they figured out that Dr. Dar is responsible for 6 months of harm. And still I haven't been getting any care, so I'm going to die soon. They know that. And so really what they wrote out is my obituary. See, because if you read, let me read the letter for you, okay? And that letter, the statement, it doesn't really address any of the issues I raised in that earlier complaint. And that statement, really what it does is, it's an obituary. They saw those horrible numbers. They saw those horrible ST elevations and depressions. They saw those horrible tracings on my stress EKG. So they know without care, I'm going to die probably within a year and a half or less. And because of that, and because they saw those horrible numbers, they know. Now, Dr. Dar really wouldn't be responsible if I die 5 years from now. But if I die within a year of seeing Dr. Dar is going to have responsibility. Okay, at least people will go back and look into what she did. Even if they find that, she bears no responsibility, they would say, hey, she saw him a year ago. What happened here? So obviously, Medstar took the information. Medstar understood everything. They're obviously heart experts, but this was simple medical school stuff anyway. And so when this Miss Cunt, or whatever her name is, when she lies and says that she doesn't understand, but even if, like I pointed out, it would still be her duty to get it to the right person and understand, since she's in a fiduciary and guardianship relationship with the patient's health. Not with any other aspect of my life, but with my health, that's the relationship. So she didn't do that, but she gave it to this is the point I make. So it's so evil, because it's not even like a negligence where you don't do your work. You're actually doing harm. You're you're doing malicious acts. So she went and gave it to the Medstar higher ups and the Medstar legal. Now, if you listen to Renee's talk and you hear how Renee is describing the departments within Medstar, she so easily mentions the term legal. She goes on, legal, and we have legal. So it's very obvious Medstar does all kinds of awful things, and they take everything to legal. So everything is solved with legal. So it looks like they're not really interested in patient care. What they do is legal. It's all about legal. So everything goes to legal. So what's legal? What is their legal department for? So their legal department, so here, what should have happened is, since Medstar Family Choice has a guardianship duty towards me, they should have gotten legal to go after all the doctors who are harming me, including their own doctor, right? So they should go and write a letter to Innova and telling them to stop interfering with my treatment, with their patient's treatment. They should then the legal should go to Dr. OK and say to give you my complete interpretation and my complete printout from my test. And then they should go to Dr. Dar, who is their own doctor, and they should file a complaint within Medstar itself about what Dr. Dar did. So, but instead of so now we can see the conflict of interest, but still the conflict only arises because Medstar is such a big company, right? If you can't handle the conflict, why are you doing this work? Right? So you want to have your own doctors. At the same time, you want to run the government welfare insurance. Now, then you have to meet those duties, okay? So you want the government welfare insurance job, so you're doing that. So, okay, so that's the job now. So just because you are doctor, so what you did is, when the government welfare insurance patient, when I complain to you that all this harm is going on to me with even Medstar doctors, then instead of doing the work to help me, which you were obligated to do as the guardian, you went and you took it and you got all the benefit of all the analysis from Medstar's legal and risk management and other doctors, and I guess you all have like nurse practitioners who are experts in medical legal matters, and they just kind of just tell you all how to produce a good lie. You have those kind of people, right? So this team, so instead of getting some enforcement action against the people who are harming me, and also using your legal team for that, and then using your medical team, since your specialty is heart care, and using your medical team to help try to save my life, at least at this point, at least at this late stage. Instead of doing that, you put all these people together and you do it to harm me. So that's what you did. Now, so you cannot lie, you cannot say no. So now I want to make sure, so I will read that letter out to you, okay? It's, let me go ahead and read the letter that Dr. Dar wrote, and they say it's on March 2. Obviously they wrote the letter after March 6, and I'm going to get through discovery. I'm going to make sure I get your computers checked out, Medstar, you fucking liars. You know you didn't write it on March 2, you wrote it on March 6 after seeing those horrible values. When you saw those horrible values, you should have at least called me and told me, don't exert yourself or whatever, try to save your life for like a couple more years if you can, right? But you're lying back bastards, you didn't do that. You want the patient to die. You want him to go ahead and do exertion or whatever and kill himself, basically. So that will wipe the problem off for you. So here's the letter. So this is an obituary letter, basically. This is basically, it doesn't answer anything from the first letter. This basically goes right at those horrible values. And what they figured out is that Dr. Dar is responsible for even medical malpractice. That's what they're trying to get over. See, so the first statement is his first and only visit. So the first statement goes, in his first and only visit. So you start off with his first and only visit. You want to make it sure that the patient didn't come back, and that's his problem. So you want to make sure that you say you only saw him once. Otherwise, what's the reason for an emphasis of being the first and only visit? And realistically, because Dr. Dar abused the patient, why the hell would he come back to her anyway? So in his first and only visit, the patient said that he had a myriad of symptoms that needed further evaluation. Now, are you trying to say that I made that particular quotation? That I said that I have a myriad of symptoms that needed further evaluation? There's no way I would have said that. I described my history. Okay, I did not make, in the first place, I didn't make any kind of summary of everything together, saying it's the, and I certainly didn't use a term like myriad. So even if you're saying that I said somebody, no, you've been hearing me. I described most of my problems everywhere, okay? And so there's no such thing as any mystery. Any first-year medical school student would easily have the answer. It's just that Dr. Dar's a fucking liar. So, said that he had a myriad of symptoms that needed further evaluation. So I never said such a thing. And so then she goes, the etiology of the symptoms was not conclusive to determine a diagnosis during the visit. Well, Dr. Dar, now you're telling me the etiology wasn't conclusive? There were so many things that you didn't put on the record. And at the same time, you put on 10 items, didn't you, Dr. Dar? Dr. Dar, where did you get the migraines from, Dr. Dar, you liar? Where did you get the hand numbness? So where did you get the family history of heart disease? So this fucking bitch, Dr. Dar, she put 10 fucking diagnoses for me. She put 10 diagnoses for me, which were all false, and then she says, I couldn't determine any diagnosis because I could not figure out the etiology. And also, if you didn't know the etiology, why did you refer me to a cardiologist? Dum-dum. And, Dr. Dar, if a person has a myriad of symptoms, you do a physical evaluation, Dr. Dar. You liar. You do the most basic physical exam, Dr. Dar. And if the physical exam doesn't show any kind of cardiovascular problem, you send the patient to like a psychologist. Okay? If the patient is complaining about all kinds of symptoms, you either treat them or send them to a psychologist. Why did you give a referral to a cardiologist? So when you say you don't know what the etiology is, you knew damn well the etiology is cardiovascular. And my problem was you got that right. So you got that right. The etiology was cardiovascular. That I agree. You did a good job in figuring that out. But here you're saying you didn't know what the etiology was. But how did you send me to a cardiologist if you didn't know what the etiology was? So, so if a person just has all these symptoms, you send them to a psychologist if nothing. So that's why you do the physical exam and history, Dr. Dar. When you do the physical exam and the history, and if you go physical exam and history, and the person has no chance of having any kind of cardiovascular problems, then why the hell did you send him to a cardiologist? And then you claim that you don't know the etiology and symptoms, but you made up all these garbage diagnoses like migraines and obesity. Where do you make up all this nonsense from? You say you could not figure out anything. Okay, so let me continue to the next tape after this.